Hey folks, it's Nate. Thanks for joining me at the art table again today. And today we're going to talk about another indie comic project. Is Iconic Comics still counting as an indie comics group? They're almost mainstream now. Okay, that's an exaggeration. But we are looking at Kamen America X Black Ops, or Black Ops X Kamen America, whichever you prefer, from Iconic Comics. Pellegrini and Lim have returned to bring us another fantastic book. It comes hardcover, it feels great, it looks great. The front has this nice raised embossed sections of the cover, which are really great in the hand. And they're kind of surprising because you can't really tell that they're raised when you're just looking at it. Well, maybe when the light catches it, you can kind of see it. Well, where is that? Yeah, you can kind of see it when the light's on it. But all in all, this is a great book. And it's an interesting cap on what Lim and Pellegrini have done over the last few years. They have built two separate but obviously shared universe properties. They have built Black Ops, which is fun, cutesy, well, mostly cutesy, but clearly aimed at younger kids, and Kamen America, which is more aimed at middle grade readers. And if you're not familiar with the publishing lingo, that means roughly 6th grade to 9th grade. Somewhere in that window, roughly middle school, is middle grade, and then young adult would be high school age. And they are bridging the two together for the first time explicitly in an entire storyline. Now, there have been other hints, and I suppose Misha was a guest star in a Black Ops story. But this is the actual crossover event, and it's pretty good. It is pretty good. The story is pretty basic, and just to give a quick look at it, it features Apex Moth, which is a villain from the Black Ops series and has been kind of working his way through the background for a while, building up resources to commit an ultimate heist. And we find out what the heist is in this series. It does a lot of interesting character work, character development in some cases, just exposition on characters in other cases. Specifically, I'm thinking of Usagi, the super rabbit that stars in Black Ops. But it is not quite what you might expect if you've read the other two books. Black Ops is largely a kind of cutesy adventure series with tough animals who do cool things. Kamen America is a meta commentary a lot of the time on superhero comics, as well as a good superhero adventure story. This crossover is largely adventure story. It's not quite as cutesy as Black Ops, and it has, as far as I can tell, no meta commentary on the state of superhero comics, which is, I think, appropriate given that it is blending the two franchises. Story-wise, it's straightforward. Apex Moth has an evil plan. Everyone comes together to stop the plan. There's a lot of cool action adventure in here. The one person who could end the story in one go, which is Kamen Ramen, is conveniently kind of shuffled off back to Japan to renew her visa, which is a really clever, I think, use of real-life bureaucracy to justify superhero shenanigans. Like, a lot of times when a character is put on a bus, essentially, they're put on a bus for some kind of really lackluster reason, like they need to travel somewhere. You know, that's where the put on the bus metaphor comes from. Or there's some kind of, supernatural force at work, a disease or something like that. Here it's just, well, she needs paperwork. That's delightfully mundane given all of the other ridiculous stuff that happens in this story. Another interesting thing that happens in here is we get our first hints that Soulfinder exists in this world as well. There may have been other hints that I simply missed. I am not very good at catching Easter eggs in the background. I'll be the first person to admit that. But we have also an artifact of a saint that is referenced in here, and that is something that has also been mentioned in Soulfinder. Now, does that mean we're going to see Father Redder in one of these stories? I don't know. We might, though. You never know. It is, after all, comics. But this story is quite fun. The art, as always, is great. As I've said before, I think Tim Lim has really reached a kind of apotheosis of his style for this kind of story. There are some really great moments. The reveal of Apex Moth's gambit, which is to resurrect a Thunderbird buried out west, gives us a really great moment there. And yeah, it's good. If you've read either franchise before and you like the art there, you're going to love the art here, because Tim just seems to be refining now. He's refining his color work, he's refining his line work. He's probably not going to make any significant stylistic changes at this point. He's just going to keep aging like wine. And I endorse that. It's great. Really great stuff. If I had one nitpick story-wise, I kind of feel like there's usually a very memorable speech in these books. And specifically the Kamen America books, more so than the Black Hops books, because usually Black Hops is the main characters are really the animals and they don't talk a whole lot. And the human characters just are in the background to give us a sense of progression, but not so much to give us strong character beats, which is okay. The Black Hops are more about the adventure than the characters. And in this story, we get kind of a presentation from Usagi, the rabbit, that I think takes the place of the usual theme-defining speech in Kamen America. And it does an okay job of presenting a thematic through line, of presenting a measure for the characters, but it does have the general weakness that I think the Black Hops book have for mature readers, that it's presenting it through the lens of an animal, admittedly an intelligent animal, that is not quite as strong as getting it from a human character. I like the general ideas at play here, that people need to calm down a little bit and work together, as opposed to trying to put themselves forward as not even as the right way to do things, but as the person to solve the problem. Because a lot of the times when you shove past other people trying to solve the problem, you're just creating more problems, and you might get further if you worked together, which is, a good, I think, middle grade to young adult kind of a message. Young adults being very self-centered, I am the main character of this story kind of people. And it's also very thematically fitting for a crossover event in which we have two primary casts of characters that need to learn to work together, at least for a brief period of time. But again, I think it would be a little bit stronger being articulated by a human character rather than a rabbit, no matter how intelligent. On the other hand, when I was 8, I probably would have gotten it better from the rabbit. So I don't know, maybe that's just a matter of who the story is aimed at. I can't say for sure. Either way, that is a very minor nitpick in a really pretty good story. There's some fascinating stuff here going forward. I am in particular looking forward to seeing what happens with the villain who has captured Jackalope and who has the ability now to speak with animals. Very interesting stuff there. I suspect we're going to see more of that in Black Hops as opposed to Kamen America. All in all, a good story, especially for its target audience, which is, as I've said before, probably kids between the ages of 8 and 15. But it's still entertaining, and it's a thing, if I had kids, I would not be afraid to read through with them. That said, there is some blood in this, which may put some parents off of wanting to buy this for their kids. Just something to keep in mind. It does have Patriot R and Rigor Tortoise in it, two of my favorite characters from the Black Hop franchise. And as usual, Patriot R is quite violent. Yes. Lots of people, well, not really people, lots of goblins get it pretty bad from him. And not all parents are going to appreciate the detail that is shown in, and it may not be really appropriate for kids under 10 depending on what your standards are. I don't think I would have a problem reading this to a kid of 7 or 8, but again, your standards may vary. So that's what I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, there's a like button and a subscribe button down below. You can use as you see fit. Tell me who your favorite Kamen America or Black Ops character is in the comments below, and I will talk to you later.